All righty. So thank you so much for joining me this evening, for joining me this evening on the how I'm going to move our faces because that's blocking there we go. On how to discuss career growth path with your boss, tips for asking for a promotion. And so this is part of the Can We Talk About Transforming My Career series, which is a series that started, this is the second month. There will be another installment next month. And then next year, I'm not sure if we're going to keep with the same series or switch it up a little bit to something different, but overall, it will be the same theme and talking about different do's and don'ts and tips and tricks to helping with career advancement and transforming, helping the professional to go to the next level in their career. All right, so who is Sharika Sanders? So thank you again for joining me. I am Sharika Sanders. My organization is called Transform the Gap. That's GAAP. And for anyone in accounting, that term may look familiar. If you're not in accounting, it's an accounting term that stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. I switched it up a little bit for my company. It's called Goals Assigned Achieving Purpose, but it is a nod to my 15 plus year corporate accounting career. And so when I was a corporate accountant, I went from revenue accountant, senior accountant, accounting manager, assistant controller to my final position when I was in corporate America was the corporate controller. And during that time, what I realized is that I really enjoyed working with my teams, helping them understand how to do all of the different parts involved in being a successful accountant, meaning doing a balance sheet reconciliation, variance analysis, working on shortening our close cycle, and honestly, the real life skills as well, working with the team after we've gone through an acquisition or a merger and being able to work well with the new stranger dangers in the building, so to speak. But honestly, all the different things, technical and real life, that are involved with being an accountant. And also during that time, I've led teams through mergers, acquisitions, reverse mergers, divestitures, IPOs, in and out of bankruptcy. So it's something that I really love to do, something that I still enjoy doing under my company, Transform the Gap. But I love to start my own company because I wanted to be able to do it on my terms and not be held by the corporate accounting close and audit schedules. So again, this is who I am, and this is why we're here today, honestly, just sharing some of the things that I've learned over my years of how to best navigate corporate America. Like I said, I went through several different positions, and all because honestly, just putting in the work and doing what I was supposed to do, but also understanding how to advocate for myself. And so that kind of what leads us to the tips for asking for a promotion, because please understand they're not all just given. You do have to earn it. Oftentimes you have to ask, and just because you're doing the work, don't assume that you're going to automatically receive the promotion. Don't assume that, well, they see what I'm doing. So you want to make sure that you take the time to advocate for yourself. And so we're going to go through a few tips here on how to do just that. So discussing, first of all, asking for money is a touchy subject. We all know it. If you heard your manager, or everybody says they want more money, they're not being paid enough. Some are valid arguments, some not so much. But it's a very uncomfortable conversation for the employee as well for the manager, and especially if you have someone who, especially if you're questioning whether or not you really will receive or do a promotion, I'll say it that way, or if you may not have the best relationship with your manager. But we're going to talk about some ways that you can navigate through this, regardless of whether or not you and your manager are BFFs or a strictly professional position. So before I even start, I want to call out a couple of facts. Number one, 74% of employees think that the lack of employee development opportunities in their current job keeps them from reaching their full potential. So that 74% of employees that are saying because I'm not able or have not been developed within my current company, that is why I'm not able to get to my full potential. And that's obviously that's a very high number. And even higher, 87% of millennials rate professional career growth and development opportunities as the most important aspects of a job. Once upon a time, it was all about money. Now people are looking more for career fulfillment, work-life balance. What are the benefits that are going to be offered to me? Because professionals have started to realize that I'm not just doing, they're not doing me a favor by giving me this position. Like I'm also giving them my time, my efforts, my energy, and a great work style and ethics. So it's a two-way street. So number one, ask yourself, am I ready for a promotion? You feel like you're really doing the work, you're putting in the hours, you're meeting the deadlines, you're doing all the things, right? And so you're like, I think I should be making more based on what, the work that I'm doing. I feel like I should be making more, but are you really ready? So number one, do you have the skills and experience for a promotion? Now, if you're, let's say you're the team lead and you're looking to go to being a manager, I don't want this question to hinder you from taking that next step. I will say if you're looking to be promoted within your current company, then what you're going to do, what you want to do is make sure that you're working to the best of your ability in your current role. You want to make sure that you are meeting those deadlines, that you are fulfilling the requirements for your current position. And honestly, if there are opportunities to do a little bit more, that you raise your hand for that as well, because skills is something that can be taught. Uh, a personality, ethics, you can't teach those. And so if your employer sees that, okay, this employee really works hard, I think that if I were to give them this promotion, they would work just as hard to be successful in their next position. So you want to make sure that if you do not already have the skills that are required for that next level position, that you're showing that uh, you have the ability to meet the needs or meet the skills requirements for that next position. Secondly, have you been meeting or exceeding your targets? So that's what I was just mentioning. You can't go to your manager and say, hey, I think I'll do a promotion. And they're like, oh, did you finish that report that you told me you would do last Friday? So make sure that you're meeting your goals right now, and even more so if you're exceeding them. Because when you start to have this conversation for a promotion, you want to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row. You don't want them to send you back to your desk before you even get two or three words out, because there are 10 things that they need from you. You're not getting along well with the team. You're coming in late every day. So make sure that you're putting yourself in the position, number one, to even have this conversation. And then lastly, am I a team player? So a team player would be, are you someone that someone else can come to if they have a question about something that you do? Are you willing to share knowledge when you find out something new? A lot of employees feel like it's a sense of job security when they don't share knowledge or share the things that they've learned, but it's really the exact opposite. You really end up putting a target on your back, because then nobody wants to work with you. You're not benefiting the team any. You're not. They then don't want to even talk to you outside of just the normal um, work items, or asking you for your suggestion on something or asking you for your help with anything. So make sure that you're being a team player, willing to help out the team, not the one that, well, I did my work for the day, time to go, and everybody else is sitting trying to get things done and staying late. If you're able to, hey, can I help anybody else before I leave? I've done, my piece, and I want to make sure everybody can go home at a decent time tonight. So just make sure that you're being a team player. Next, talk to your manager. Now, I want to give a little disclaimer, because while I chose this particular image because this needs to be a sit down conversation. Having this conversation with your manager is not something where you just stop by and swing your head in the door and say, hey, you have 10 minutes. No, you want to schedule some time on their calendar where you can sit down and actually talk about it. You don't have to say, I want my raise or I'm asking for a promotion, but hey, can we just have a one on one? But schedule that time so that you can make sure that you have their undivided attention. So that's why I like this image, because not only is she looks like they were prepared to meet, but she has paper, she has something to write with. So this is obviously a serious conversation and not just a quick, hey, I want to run something by you. You want them to know that you're serious about this. Now, what I didn't realize until like right before was soon a little. Now that's we're not really encouraging that area. Um, you still want to be professionally dressed. Make sure it's your work that is getting you the promotion. But anyway, I just noticed that little bit. So have a conversation with your manager. Be ready to receive positive and negative feedback. Just because you think you're ready for that next level doesn't necessarily mean you are. And that doesn't mean that you'll sit down and they're going to tell you you're doing this wrong, that wrong, all of these things wrong. But make it a conversation. Talk about what you've accomplished. And I like she has the notepad there with her, because you want to come ready and loaded. So have already prepared with you the things that you've accomplished, the times that you raised your hand to help someone else, the times that you may have stayed late. This is the time where you want to brag about yourself and all the things that you've done to benefit the organization, because that's how you want to phrase this, how you've helped the organization, and how this next level, this promotion, will allow you to continue helping the organization, how having someone with your skill level or with your work ethic, your level of expertise, can give, other departments another person to lean on. Tell your manager how this promotion could help take work off of them even. You want to make sure that you're showing the positives for everyone involved and not just talking about me, because they want to see how it's going to help them too. And honestly, if you can show how it will help your manager and the organization as a whole, you're more likely to have other people to rally for you and support you're getting this promotion. So think about overall how what you've already done has helped the organization, and how this next level promotion, how this promotion can help you to continue benefiting the organization. And then also with negative feedback, if there are things that you need to work on, and even ask that, hey, I know these are some of the things I'm doing right now. These are some of the things I've already done. Are there any areas of opportunity? And this is what you would ask if you feel like you're getting a little bit of hesitation possibly from your manager. Make sure you're getting that feedback from them, and make sure you're going in, not necessarily have your expectations set that you may not get an answer right then, because 9 times out of 10 they're going to have to ask their manager and however the hierarchy goes within the organization. So make sure that you're ready to receive any type of feedback and be able to take whatever constructive criticism. It's not necessarily the time to be defensive or, well, I did that because they did this. It's not the time for any of that. You're just having the conversation. This is what I've done. This is what I'm asking for. Be prepared to say, hey, take some time and we can regroup, but be ready for both sides. And then whatever the conversation, however the conversation lands. So if the conversation is, the manager is like, yes, I absolutely agree. I'm so glad you came to me with this. I've been thinking the same thing. You have my, 100% support. Or whether they said, I'm not really sure that you're ready. This may not be the best time. The organization is going through this, that, and the other, and any of the other things that they can throw or come back. I don't want to say throw back at you, but any of the other type of feedback that they can give. Make sure that you take note of all of those things, because after the conversation, you want to follow it up with an email. And here's why. If they come back with you, if they come to you and they say, well, I agree with everything you said, but I think there are some things you need to work on. Well, then your response can be, okay, I can work on these things. Can we talk about, I don't know, a time to regroup? 3 months, 6 months, if that's the case. Or you can say, can we set out a plan? Can we lay out a plan of, if I work on these specific things, and don't necessarily have to be negative things, they can be positive things, or just, some additional projects or tasks, even. If I work on these things, can we regroup and have a conversation again in 6 months? Or 3 months, or during the budget season. And I'm saying that to say regroup, and not, if I do this and I get an additional $10,000. You can ask for that, but if your manager isn't necessarily the one that has to make that decision, then you don't allow them to don't allow them to make you false promises, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know that they're not the ones that's making the decisions about money. Now, the two of you can talk about what that promotion would look like as far as title and even salary between the two of you, and say, okay, if I work on these things, and then we regroup in X amount of time, then we together can go and advocate for this promotion from the CFO or the CEO or whoever that person is, HR, or whatever that person or that group is. So make sure you're prepared to receive feedback, but then also, after you've had the conversation, follow it up, and it can be an email. Follow it up. Why? Because you want to make sure that they commit. You don't want to go back to them in a few months and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say that. Or let's say that person wants to leave the company. You still can have your support to the new manager and say, hey, I know you weren't around for this, but this is what the prior manager and I talked about. This is what we agreed to. And I want to, make sure to bring you up to speed and see if I also have your support. And yes, an email does count. It doesn't have to be, type double space, 12-point font time, time, what Times New Roman and all of those things. But be professional, follow it up. This is what happened in the conversation. This is what I said. These are my accomplishments. These are the things that we talked about my working on. This is the time frame that we mentioned. If a dollar amount or a range was mentioned, note all of those things and send that. And ask for, hey, can you, please confirm. And honestly, whether you get the confirmation or not, the fact that you sent that email shows that you're putting something in writing, because you're not just going to make up something out of thin air and send it to a manager and say, hey, these are all the things we talked about, for a conversation that never happened. So make sure you CYA, that's cover your butt. Make sure you CYA, follow it up in writing of whatever the conversation was, so that there's a written record in case it's ever needed. Hopefully not, but in case it's needed. Now, I put the scary face with this one because I know I'm probably hitting a nerve with the be prepared to work without pay one. And even more so, you probably may be saying, I'm doing that already. Uh, because often when you get a promotion, or before getting a promotion, you're already doing the work. I can honestly tell you, I cannot think of one promotion that I received, whether it was within my company or honestly going to another company, where I wasn't already doing parts of the job already. And that tends to happen because they want to see, well, can they really handle two things? One, you see it because they're like, we're thinking about this, but let's see if they can really handle this additional workload or this additional responsibility, and what type of response we'll get from that. So you'll see it in that case. Now, unfortunately, you'll also see it in scenarios where, oh, this is a really great employee, let's just keep giving them the work and giving them the work. And that's honestly part of a little bit separate conversation, still a conversation that has to happen, but it's a little bit different in how you would have that conversation. But so yeah, you may already be doing the work now, or expect to have to do some of the work. And that goes back to that conversation that I was talking about having, where you say, hey, if I agree to work on these things, it could be taking on a new project. It could be, hey, I want to start some cross training with the team, or I will agree to take one of the newer employees under my belt and help train them up. So it could be a number of things that you will do, or will agree, or can agree to do, so that you're showing that you're ready for that next level as far as a promotion is concerned. And then to just touch on what I was saying about, if you're already doing the work, So one of the ways to support whatever amount that you're asking for is to do your research. So you can go to their seller.com. So there are a lot of different websites that you can go to, which will say, okay, if you're looking at this job position in this area of the country with this level of experience, this is ideally what the range for that salary would be, and see where you stand in comparison. If you're already within that range, then you may have been a little bit misguided, I'll say, about what all was entailed within your current position. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go and still ask and say, "Hey, I noticed that my workload has picked up a bit, and I noticed my workload has picked up. Call out the things that you're doing now and that are in addition to what you were doing before, and now that I'm doing these things, and you want to talk about a possible increase in pay, and you can have that conversation if you're not necessarily looking for an increased title. Now, I will say, depending on the amount that you're asking for, it's probably better to ask for a title to go with that promotion, because it just make it a little bit easier for you, and it'll make them agree to it a little bit better. But if you're one of those where I'm just doing the work, I'll keep doing the work, but I don't want the responsibility of more people. Like, I don't want all these other things. I just want more money. Then you're probably not going to get what you're asking for, because you have to give a little, sometimes a lot, to get a little. So be prepared to work without pay. This doesn't mean forever. This doesn't mean for an extended period of time. This is just while you're, and I think this, yeah, this is why you're showing improving. This is why you're showing them, this is why I deserve that promotion. You do this while you're proving that, yes, I am ready for this next level position. You're doing this to show them that they're going to make the right decision and giving you whatever that promotion is. So be prepared. And honestly, if you even initiate it, it may make it a little bit better for you to say, what if I do these things? Or I noticed, if you're talking to your manager, I noticed you have this new project that you're working on. And what if I help you with that? Because you're taking some things off of them as well. And so, again, you want to show where you have the room for growth. You want to show where you can handle more. And you want to go ahead and show it before it even happens that, hey, I'm already ready for this. I'm already prepared. I'm doing it. I just need my salary to align with what I'm doing right now. Um, and this also works with I was thinking about a couple of other different areas. So I already mentioned, if you're just looking for an increase in pay without the necessary promotion, of course, you want to go with your support of, these are the extra things that I'm doing to validate that additional pay. But also, let's say you're looking to take a class or earn some sort of certification related to your job, and you want the company to pay for it. This kind of works the same way, because either way you're still asking for money from the company. And all companies, a lot of them do, thankfully, but there are still some that do not have education reimbursement, or they're very particular or specific, meaning if you're not going for like a degree, they may not pay for it. So if it's some sort of certification or class that you're looking to take, because I've even known companies, honestly, to pay for like an advanced Excel class. But if there's some sort of class or something that you want to take, have this same conversation. These are the things that I'm doing. I'm very interested in taking this course. This is the amount. This is how long the course takes, and I would like the company to pay for it, and then give the benefits of why with the company paying for it. One, you can say, well, once I take the class and learn how to do X, I can now come back and show the rest of the team. So now they've only paid for one person to do it versus 10 people to do it. So that's a benefit to the organization. Or you can say, now with my having this knowledge or this certification, it makes you look good to the manager. It makes you look good because now you have someone on your team who's skilled in this particular job category or this particular job type. So again, you're telling them the benefits to them, while obviously we know it benefits you as well. But you're telling them the benefits that will help them if they agree to do this. And also, one of the things I noticed that a lot of companies will do, especially if it's something that's very costly, And if you really like the organization, if you don't like the organization, then this doesn't apply. But if you really like the company, but it's something costly and you want them to pay for it, say, hey, if you all agree to cover this class for me, not only will I have the advanced knowledge and I can, possibly share it with others, but I'll agree to commit an additional 12 months to the company, something like that, because then that makes them know or see that, okay, you're willing to benefit, you're looking out for the company, you're willing to stay with the company, you're not just going to ask us to pay for this and then leave. So, if it's a company again that you really like and there the opportunities for growth are there, then make that investment on both sides. Hey, I'm willing to commit another 12 months to the organization if this $10,000 class is paid for. So that way you now have it, and you now have an extra something to add to your resume. And at the end of that 12 months, that could be even another promotion that you could get from the company, or you can make that decision to leave. And now you've gotten an extra certification plus experience, skills, knowledge, all the different things. Now, in talking, because this one is the last one, but I want to go over a couple of things that I was thinking about as far as why they would say or when it would possibly not be a good time to ask for a promotion. And so this would be if you know that the company is going through some sort of restructuring. So, and I've seen this quite a bit. And you tend to hear about these things, or if you have like town halls, you may hear the CEO or whatever talk about it. But if the company is looking to merge with another company, or acquire another company, or if they're possibly going to be bought by another company, they're probably not going to make any changes to salaries at that time, because throughout that process, they tend to have to submit, like, these are the salaries for our employees, this is a head count, all of those different things. It doesn't keep you from having a conversation or asking the question, but just be prepared that that could be a valid reason why we can't make any changes right now. But that doesn't keep you from saying, hey, this is expected to finish in the next, 3 to 6 months. Can we revisit? There's never anything wrong with asking to revisit a conversation and seeing where you stand, in another couple of months or 6 months or whatever the case may be. So I think the restructuring is one. Also, if the company has already gone through the restructuring, so let's say you've merged with another company now, and you notice there are a lot of duplicative roles, then you might want to let things calm down a bit before you start asking that question. Because you want to make sure that you see what the team and what the structure is going to look like before you raise your hand for something and then they make some big adjustment and it's not really what you were looking for, or something that you're willing to do after the changes. So I think that would be another one, but it's typically throughout any type of large organizational change that you may want to still have the conversation, but be prepared if you don't get an answer right then, or if you're told no up front, because they honestly probably just can't do it at that time. And I do know that is definitely one, just from having those conversations and going through those type of changes within the companies. But I will say, regardless of the outcome, um, regardless of whether you get the answer that you want or not, you want to follow up with your written communication. You want to thank them for their time. Stay professional. Always be professional. Um, there's a way to disagree and still be professional without saying, hey, this is my side of it, or this is what I was thinking. But maintain your professionalism. Say thank you for the time, and still follow it up in writing so that you have record of it. And I'll let them know, hey, I understand. I appreciate the feedback. See you in a few months. Uh, because if it's something that you're really doing the work for and something that you really feel you deserve, and honestly, just as an employee, you are owed that conversation. You are owed the conversation of how you're doing, where you land, when you have your annual reviews with your managers, honestly, they shouldn't be a surprise. If you're getting negative feedback or positive feedback, it really shouldn't be a surprise because they should have been communicating with you throughout the year. And honestly, you can communicate with them as well. Hey, I haven't heard anything, just checking in. Can we have a one on one so I can know how I'm doing? That's another way to kind of work your way up to it. Even if you aren't thinking about a promotion at that time, that gives you a good gauge of where you stand with the work that you're doing and the impact that you're making on the team, as well as just honestly what they think about the work that you're doing. So, always be willing to have that conversation and don't be afraid of the no, because you could honestly hear no 2 or 3 times until you get that yes, and it could be a good yes. And also know that when you do get that yes and you do get that promotion, they're not doing you a favor. Let's be clear on that. They're not doing you a favor. You're doing the work and probably have already been doing the work and you get the promotion. So don't feel like if you receive a promotion and it's not really what you were expecting. Now, if you all have had the conversation and agreed to something, that's a little bit different. But if you're offered a promotion and so I'll give an example. In one of my prior roles, I was given the promotion. I was promoted from accounting manager to assistant controller. And it wasn't one that I can't really say I was surprised that I got it, but it wasn't a conversation that we had been having or anything. I just found out, hey, we're going to promote you to this position. And I was like, okay, great. And then they gave me the salary, and I was like, wait, what? Because I knew that what that position required, and I knew that it was going to be, it was going to entail a lot of my time, a lot more effort, and it was a lot more responsibility as well. And so I countered it. And the way that I counted it, I did it in writing. I said, thank you for the promotion, for, whatever for this title, for this pay. I would like to ask for my increase to be, and I think they may have given me 10. I asked for another 5 or something like that. I would ask for the increase to be this amount based on these things. And that was, all the things that I knew would be required of me, the additional commitment, the additional responsibility, all the things that I knew. And then also I made it personal, based, obviously they gave me that promotion because they knew what type of employee I was. They knew that I was going to put my best foot forward. They knew my work ethic. And so I used those things as well. And submitted it to them. I had the conversation and then I followed it up with an email. And my email was honestly already ready to go before I even sat down to have the talk. I just went back to my desk and hit send. But I had the conversation, followed it up with an email, and they came back, I don't know, maybe a week later and agreed to it. No, that won't always be the case, but that doesn't mean again that you can't ask and you can't put it out there. Just because you get it doesn't mean you just have to accept whatever people give to you. So ultimately, I just want to make sure that you understand that regardless of the conversation, be prepared to have the conversation and be comfortable. Even if on the inside you're a ball of nerves, that is absolutely okay. Still have that conversation, speak for what you need and what you provide with to the company, and be ready for the feedback. And I'm sure that if you're with the right company, honestly, if you're with the right company and it truly is a increase or promotion is truly deserved, it will come your way, because the right company will not want to lose a valued employee, and they will do what they need to do to figure it out. That's not your job to say they don't have the money. That's not your job to say, I know these things may be happening. Nope. If it's an employee that they want to keep, they will figure it out. So I'm gonna end with that. I know I tend to talk a little bit fast, and I meant to say if there are any questions or comments to put them in the chat. I forgot. Sorry. But if there are any, thank you all for your time. Absolutely. And please, if there are any questions, you can type it in the chat, or if you want to come off mute. And this is, that time to ask any questions.
Well, I just want to thank you for setting aside the time to offer this, because of the fact a lot of people, they are reluctant, or they don't know how to ask for a promotion, or ask for, or just make a request at all in regards to what it is they need on with their organization. And you're absolutely right. It's interesting you said, even if you have a verbal conversation, follow up in writing, because I just had a conversation everything, even if it's verbal, just in a follow-up, say, well, and of course our conversation on blah 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 this time, this is what we both agreed to.
Yep.
It's
Yes.
just like you said, CYA, and establishing that paper trail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just a matter of also, if you're trying to know your worth, but also I call it having a brag folder,
Yes.
where even it doesn't have to be something sophisticated. It could just be something you email to yourself and have a folder so you could always go back to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I always had a kudos folder, a Sharika kudos folder in my Outlook. And I would put there if I did something and somebody sent me an email say, thank you for it, whatever, that went in my folder. Or if it was something that I did and it didn't, like Dr. L said, if it wasn't something that was received in the email, I sent an email to myself, put it in my folder. So that way, not only do I have what I did, but it's also date stamp. So now it's this record of, hey, in this last 6 months, these are all the things that I have accomplished or that I've done. And don't downplay it and say, oh, it was only this or it was just that. Mm-mm. You did it. It was outside of your normal scope or above and beyond. Put it in there. You stayed late because you were trying to help with whatever project. Put it in the folder. So thank you for that one.
Mhm.
All righty. And just want to know other questions or comments, questions, emotional speeches. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I meant to put it and I forgot to add it. But again, I am Sharika Sanders. Oh, yes, ma'am.
There was a comment in the chat.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Abby says, I've tried to follow the company process as defined and asking for reclassification while consistently doing my job well, but haven't had much luck while other people have gotten it. How to handle workplace favoritism and disparity. That honestly is a good one and one that I've dealt with in the past as well. So I'm not sure if you're only going to your manager, but I would try them first, and then if you're not getting much luck from them, then that's when I would go and involve. And it's not being sneaky, it's not trying to, be behind anyone's back. Say, hey, I know we didn't agree, but I wanted to include HR and get their feedback on this as well. Or I wanted to include, whoever their next manager is, so I can get their feedback. Because that's the thing. If they're not giving it to you, they should be able to explain why. And so that's one of the main things that you want. You know what? We had a conversation. I appreciate this. I respect the decision, but can I get some feedback as to why I'm not being reclassified? Because they need to be able to spell that out for you specifically so that you can work towards those things. But if that's not something that they can spell out for you and they can't give you a valid reason for that, then I definitely think it's time to escalate it. And I hope that you have an HR team or other management that is supportive and can help you with that, because that is the route that you would want to take. Now, I will say, when you have that conversation, even if it's blatant favoritism, even if it's blatant, let me tell you, and I had a position once, the guy that I reported to, so accounting background, so there's the CFO, there's VP, and then there's me. The VP above me and the CFO were best friends. He brought him in. There were 3 people on my team that the CFO brought in who were also his friends. We used to work, accounting and finance were separate. There were 3 or 4 people on finance side, also his friends. And so it was like I was surrounded by, and I would see like people getting money. Um, I would see them getting increases, and I'm like, what are they getting money for? Like, they haven't done anything extra, nothing's happening. What are they getting money for? And one time, I'll even tell you, there was this guy that one of the guys that reported to me, he was his friend. He gave him a promotion, not warranted, but he had given him so many of these little promotions where his salary was almost, they had to give me a promotion just so they could give him one, because they, so our salaries wouldn't be the same. And that, and handling that was a whole thing. But I'm saying all that to say, if you've gone through the proper channels and you're still not getting what you need, then it may honestly be time to start looking outside of the organization. It may be time to start seeing where else you can. And when you're looking outside, if you choose to look outside, look for that next level that you should be on. Look for that salary that's appropriate to that level that you should be on. Because unfortunately, that does exist. And I'm not sure how about your organization, but I also know that there sometimes is a bit of a hesitation or fear if you try to escalate it, depending on the relationship that person has with those other people. And the last thing you want is retaliation. So I would say, first, just to reiterate, going back, hey, I didn't get the reclassification, but can you specifically call out some things that I need to work on? And like I was saying earlier, and can we agree if I do these things that I can get my classification? And let's put a time frame to it. Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Let's put that time frame to it. There shouldn't be any reason why they have an issue agreeing with that. And if they do, then say, thank you, I appreciate it, but I think I want to have this conversation with HR or their manager, whichever route you feel more comfortable with taking, but having or both, and having that conversation with them, the boss's friends, involved HR, and no difference in the outcome. Yeah. So yeah, your situation then was similar. I think it may be time to, if you really like the company, are there opportunities outside of your group or your department? And if you think it's an organizational thing, then I think it may be time to look honestly outside the company, because like in my case, it was our CFO. So I didn't really have anybody above him that I could go to speak my piece. And also our HR group reported to him as well. So it was a big circle of things. And so I understand how that can be a bit difficult to navigate. But that also wasn't the best environment, I know, for me specifically. And I did end up leaving that and going to something that I felt was more mentally stable for me. So I would consider that, because I do know in some companies, HR, they are your best advocates, and in others, they may go back and tell the person that you went to them about. And while they're not supposed to do that, I'm not sure of well, there are things, there's EAP, there are different things you can try, but it I would say you may want to consider looking at um, other organizations, and continue to play nice, continue to do what you need to do while you're there. But start looking for your next level position. And if you're doing that, your communication is that you're looking for growth, not that I should have gotten this and they didn't give it to me. You don't want to sound like the disgruntled employee, but you just want to say, I've been at this place this amount of time. I'm looking for growth. The opportunity hasn't been presented to me yet. And so that's why I'm looking outside, because I want to be with an organization where I can continue to grow and continue to be challenged. And I hope that helps. How do I go about references? So you can use, have you had the same supervisor the whole time that you were with this company? Because one, it's all about trust. If you have to use someone from the company that you with, that you're currently with is absolutely 100% about trust, because you don't want anyone saying anything and to have an impact on your on the on your current job while you're still there. So if there are other people that you can trust, like peers, then I would say, hey, you don't have to be specific, but I'm thinking about looking. If I did, can I, one, have your confidentiality? And two, would you be willing to be a reference for me as a peer or even with the other supervisor? Absolutely. Yes. And they should know anyway, but yeah, absolutely, you would tell them that. Honestly, a lot of companies will be surprised if you can supply a reference from your current job, because they know that normally, it's a surprise, or it's a secret, not surprise, it's a secret and you're not telling them. So if there are people that you can absolutely trust, peers or old supervisors or something, fine. If not, you can absolutely say, please don't reach out to them while I'm there. If they wanted to after, because some of them will after, like you turn in your notice. But if you think they're going to be bitter, then you may want to, reference that. But if there are other places where you work, and it doesn't necessarily just have to be places you work, you can use like a college professor, or like if you went for some sort of certification, the teacher of that. You can use other people in positions of authority. It doesn't necessarily have to be just that person that you're reporting to right now. So think about other people who are in positions of authority. Yeah, you can absolutely do that. Yeah, it's not uncommon at all to not use anybody from your current company, because you then raise a concern or fear that they could say something while you're still there. So yeah, if you have some past employees that you can use, absolutely. Any other questions? Anytime. And I was going to say also, if anything comes up, any other questions, or you think about something, just Sharika Sanders, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. Send me a message. I'll be more than happy to help answer wherever. And if we, want to get on a call for a few minutes to talk some things through, that's fine as well. I'm absolutely open to that. Dr.
Sharika,
Ellen.
thank you for the presentation, the information.
Thank you. And thank you for attending. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for the questions. I really appreciate this, you all. And if all hearts and minds are clear, then I will hopefully see you all next month. I'm thinking, I'm thinking about changing the title of that one to something, since it's during the holiday season, of something under the title of appreciation and gratitude, maybe for your coworkers or team members or whatever. So not really sure yet. We'll see how that one flies. I'll do a temperature test for it first. But thank you all definitely for attending, and I hope to see you on the next one. Enjoy your evenings. Bye.